finally today I'm sharing how to make tiramisu. This is one of the most popular desserts by all the customers and friends I've made desserts for in the past. I love tiramisu, and for me, this is by far the best tiramisu I've had so far. For a long time I kept it in my recipe book, but today I'm sharing how to make it step by step. So let's dive in. So first, let's make the biscuit sponge. I shared how to make it in this video, so if you want to learn more in details, watch the video after this one. But first, we are whipping egg whites. Add sugar between and make very fluffy meringue. Meanwhile, sift flour as preparation so that you can add in the meringue later right away. And also prepare your powdered sugar on a sieve like this. Once meringue is ready, add yolks as you mix with low speed and stop right away once they are roughly combined. And immediately add about a half amount of flour and mix with cut and fold motion. This is to make sure you are not going to kill too much meringue as you mix. So don't use a whisk and mix vigorously. Once they are almost combined, add the rest of the flour and mix just until they are combined, and once you don't see any more flour, stop right away. Make sure not to over mix here so that it is not going to be loose. And immediately pipe and bake. You can pipe individual lady fingers or pipe long belts like I am doing here to be a lot more faster. And finally, dust powdered sugar lightly on the surface. Wait for a second and dust more to the parts that soaked up most of the powdered sugar and needed more. So ideally, you want to move very quickly up to this point to keep the sponge fluffy. Since the sponge is made with a lot of meringue, butter can get loose by the time you pipe if you take too much time. So that's my biggest tip. Depending on the size, thickness, and the oven you're using, the baking time and temperature is going to change slightly. So keep checking toward the end. Coffee time. For tiramisu, I recommend very strong coffee. With sponge and cream together, it does not taste too strong, at least for me. With mild coffee, the tiramisu still tastes good, but kind of sad for me. That being said, if you want to share it with kids or someone who cannot take caffeine, decaf coffee works just fine. So don't worry. It was close. This time coffee was 400 grams and I added 100 grams of dark rum in the coffee. You may think it is a lot of alcohol, but really, at least for me, it is not too strong at all. So just try it and adjust the amount as you like. You can also use the very famous Kahlua or different types of alcohol, but I personally like to use dark rum, spiced rum, or Kahlua with rum. Alright, let's make the cream. So to make very rich cream, we add a lot of yolks. Add yolks and sugar in a pan and mix. For food safety reason, I like to cook yolks before adding in the cream. So let's heat them up with low heat until yolks are heated enough but not cooked, because you don't want scrambled yolks in your cream. So pay attention really well and we move from heat toward the end to check if they are hot enough. I insert my fingers and check sometimes. If you cannot keep your fingers in more than about 5 seconds, that means it's heated enough. Then immediately pour in the bowl and whip while they're still hot until it gets pale with a lot more volume. Touch the bowl and if you don't feel anything or slightly warm, it is done. Chill in the fridge until right before use. And today we're gonna use 2 blocks of cream cheese and 2 containers of these mascarpone cream. 2. It's just 2 containers each. I'm gonna use the same bowl that I used for the yolks. Mascarpone. And I'm going to add sugar. Goes in. Again, I'm gonna use the same whisk. So the reason we want to cool the yolk mixture before adding in this cheese mixture is to make sure the cheese stays cold after they are combined. Depending on the room temperature, if the yolk mixture is not cold, the cheese can warm up while you're mixing, which could make them loose. Alright, once that they're completely blended and the sugar is kind of dissolved, you can stop. You don't have to whip too much here. If this cheese mixture is not cold by the time you add yolk mixture, chill in the fridge just a little bit to be safe. Now they are both cold, combine them together and mix until it is nice and smooth. I added all the yolks mixture all at once this time, but I recommend to add about 1/3 of the amount first. Mix, clean up the bottom and side, mix again, and add the rest and mix in the end. That way you can make sure you are not going to get lumps of cheese in the end, even if you don't have a stand mixer. And some of you might already know that I love to use a hand blender from my previous videos, but as a secret tip, I like to use a hand blender to emulsify them just a little bit more. Not too much so, because again, the cheese could get loose with some heat from a blender. But if you don't have that, that's totally fine. It still tastes amazing without it as well. Now let's whip heavy cream until it is very fluffy like a cloud. Make sure it is not whipped too much up to the point it is separated, but you want a thick whipped cream, which creates beautiful thick texture that kind of stick on your tongue and smooths out slowly as you eat. Once it's made, add about 1/3 of the cheese and yolk mixture and mix until they are combined. Now it's time to assemble them together. Cut the sponge with the cookie cutters and soak in coffee. Remove excess liquids and place in ramekins or cups like this. I'm also making a large one with pipe plate today, and pour the cream inside. For Ray, I made this one with a plain sponge as well. After I made all that, I still had this much left with plenty of Biscuit sponge as well, so you can probably make close to the double amount. And today, to make it look extra fancy, let's make very easy chocolate curls you can decorate on top. First, melt chocolate. I used dark chocolate chips today, but I recommend to use Cuba True chocolate you can get since they taste so much better. Once it's melted, spread chocolate very thin like this and wait some time, and right before it gets completely hardened and still have some flexibility, scrape it off like this with the dough scraper and make curls. Or if you want to make it extra easier, this is the way I often do when I want to do it really quick. Spread in a parchment paper instead and roll like this. Chill completely and remove the paper later. It creates very thin, not curls, but like shreds. If you are using Cuba True chocolate though, I recommend to temper it for this one to create crisp and shiny texture and to make them look extra beautiful. Dust cocoa powder right before eating. I recommend to use pure high quality cocoa powder to make it taste extra delicious. These are the ones I made with the traditional way. And these are the ones I make with the parchment paper. You do not need to add these chocolate decorations. Of course, I did this today as an extra just to show you what you can do, but usually I prefer eating it without them actually. The cream and the coffee sponge are just so perfect together. They really complete each other. Enjoy your tiramisu with your special someones on their birthdays, holidays, Valentine's Day, or at your home parties. For me, it is the absolute dessert to share your love with someone. In my case, as always, I pick this girl.
Is this what it means to have growing pains? Never come out the way when the same.
Yum, yummy.
Just as diamonds shine from pressure, babe. You don't know true love until your heart breaks. Yeah. You're gonna have to hurt sometimes. So painful you can barely survive. Tired from the sleepless nights, you run out of your tears from all of the crying. This is what it means to have growing pains. Never come out the way you went in the same. Just as diamonds shine from pressure, babe. You don't know true love until your heart breaks.
What are you doing, buddy, over there? You like the cream?
It's called
tiramisu.
Just waiting by your phone.
Can you say tiramisu?
Takes back all the things that he said. This is what it means
Hey.
to have grown.
なんでチューチュー
Come out the way you went in the same.
Just
As diamonds
monster.
shine from pressure,
A monster. Monster.
don't know
It's okay, you can do it.
your heart breaks.
Hey.
I'm gonna be the apples.
Oh, great.
Although it's no longer where you lost him, you'll find her. Before it is easy, things will get harder. Then one day you're stronger than ever.
Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family if you like the content. So, as always, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
This is what it means to have growing pains. Never come out the